Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. The Vikings once again prove that scoring points in the first half at home against the Colts is overrated.
Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Cam Akers, running back 2 again. Protect that man at all costs.
Hey, this is Arif Hassan with the Wide Lev Substack. My losses are immeasurable. My disappointment rings through the centuries.
I think Braun is doing a thing here.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings, as visible as Sam Darnold's face mask.
All right.
Locked On Sports Minnesota Podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party. It's your guys hanging out talking next level Vikings football. So join in with Arif Hassan, Locked On Vikings Luke Braun, Superior Sports Talks Luke Inman, and Vikings insider Sam Ekstrom, plus the biggest names in Minnesota football for the Minnesota Football Party. And it starts now.
Hey, welcome in on a Monday, the first Victory Monday in a while on the Minnesota Football Party, part of Locked On Sports Minnesota. Please subscribe. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you listening as well on the Locked On Vikings audio feed, where Luke Braun produces great daily Vikings content. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first watch or listen. The Vikings win 21-13 in what was a statistical shellacking that turned into a one-possession game at the end, but the Vikings emerged victorious. They're 6-2, maybe the start of a lengthy winning streak, schedule getting lighter. Defense bounces back. Offense put together 4 full quarters, with the exception of the turnovers. And where are the Vikings sitting now in the NFC power rankings-wise? We're also one day away from, drumroll, the trade deadline. We got a lot going on tomorrow. Our nation is at stake, and also NFL moves might be happening.
So are you saying the nation's dependent on the trade deadline, Sam? That's what I'm picking up from what you said.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
got it.
when the Vikings execute all 4 of the moves we are going to suggest on this show,
Sam,
it
when
will
we're talking
throw
about,
the nation into tumult.
Sam, when we're talking about tomorrow, please do not use the word execute. I swear to God.
Speaking of the importance of voting, have you seen the Halloween candy draft standings?
Oh, God. Okay,
12
so
minutes...
in my intro, I said my losses are immeasurable, but actually what's really disappointing is that the 2 losses of mine we'll be discussing on this show are actually very quite and precisely measurable, which is actually worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are 12 minutes left in the Halloween candy draft poll. So in the next 12 minutes,
time.
We won't reveal who the teams belong to yet. You can go and vote. Vote. Get your vote in now. You have 12 minutes. You can find the poll at Sam Ekstrom on X and vote for your favorite Halloween candy team. All right, Vikings beat the Colts 21-13. What do we learn? What do we learn from the Vikings win over the Colts? We broke it down initially on the postcast last night. Luke Inman hosting. Ron Johnson was on the show. A lot of you showed up. Now we've had the night to think about it. We'll start with Arif Hassan, who was not on the postcast. Arif Hassan, what did we learn?
I don't know if it's appropriate to say the defense is back, but certainly they are demolishing bad teams. This is by far the worst performance that this bad Colts offense was able to put together all year by a substantial margin. You could say, hey, they only put up 3 points on offense, and that's a good way to characterize it. They also had like negative 0.169 EPA per play, which I struggle to like explain how awful that is. That is in like the second percentile of all offensive performances. It is brutally bad. Like, yeah, okay, they had a backup left tackle. They had to like bench their quarterback or whatever. I don't care. That is an astounding performance. That is what it looks like when a great defense takes on a bad offense. That's what that looks like. That's not what a good defense does to a bad offense. That's what a great one does. That said, we're not going to know more until they take on a genuinely good offense again. It might be a little bit before we get that opportunity, but that was good to see at least, right? Because when defenses do that kind of... Sorry, we had a great comment from Taylor Georgopoulos. You heard it here first. The defense is back. Yeah, that's what I said. You got it. When you see defenses do this kind of thing to even bad offenses, there is a good chance that is kind of indicative of the overall quality of the defense. So that's maybe the first lesson. The second lesson is they can score points in the second half, which is nice. Maybe it's just a Colts at home thing. Who's to say?
Yeah.
But it was nice. They made a couple of changes that they talked about before the game for how they were going to change the offensive play calling structure. So they brought Wes Phillips down from the booth to the sideline. They said that they simplified the offense. I actually don't know what they mean by that, whether they just mean simplify the terminology so that the process executes, a little bit faster in the huddle, a little bit cleaner to clean up the operation, prevent the pre-snap penalties. There was still, the timeout to prevent the delay of game. Whatever it is, the offense found itself a little bit more capable of producing in the second, third, and fourth quarter. That said, I think they would have scored in the first quarter. Just, you got a Sam Darnold mistake you got to take care of sometimes.
My take last night was that
your weekly Sam Darnold whoops.
Yeah, you just got to, get through it.
Yeah, the turnovers are bad and problematic and might kill the season at some point. But I think the Vikings were awesome on the whole on offense. No 3-and-outs in the game except for like the one play interception drive. Moved the ball between the 20s unbelievably. 29-13 first down margin. That was probably as steady an offensive performance as we've seen this year. It wasn't front loaded all in the first half. Their defense didn't have to, score for them. They legitimately produced yardage. And Luke, was this after the postcast? What was Braun, that is? What was the series conversion percentage that you cited?
Yeah, so on series conversion rate, which is how often a 1st and 10 begets another 1st and 10 or touchdown, as it were, 29 of 36. It was 80%, which is ungodly.
Wow.
It was
7 times.
I want to point out it was
all
substantially
night,
better in the second half than the first half. But yeah.
Yeah, because the second half or the first half had 5 drives that did not turn into a first down or touchdown. But even those ones had a whole bunch of series that still went, so it was still like mitigated. But yeah, that meant 7 times all night the Vikings had the ball on 1st and 10, and that did not become another 1st and 10 or touchdown.
If you watch 95% of that game, that was sort of the Texans game. It should have been 34-7. The Vikings made too many blunders. That's bad. I also don't know if Will Reichard's going to miss 2 kicks every game. That's probably not something sustainable. There's not going to be a fumble 6 every game. That's where Sam Darnold gets punched in the head. That's probably not sustainable.
Well, I think if you make it legal to punch him in the head, which seems to be the case, there's going to be a fumble 6 every game. You're going to have to deal with that.
I think the Vikings are getting punished for having black face masks. They're harder to see. Make the face masks yellow so the refs can see them.
It was quite a phrase.
That sentence felt so dangerous.
We're walking on eggshells today.
Jesus.
Luke Edmonds.
Hey, the other thing we
you
brought up
can't
too
do that to me.
on the postcast last night. We talked about Jordan Addison, right? Last night, free 3, right? 71 plays to 49. They were dead last or close to dead last in total plays or average total plays per game and the time of possession. I mean, not too much to add what you guys already said. This is a really good team when they're not shooting themselves in the foot and they're playing relatively clean, error-free football. Some of that might just come down to, the Sam Darnold experience, so to speak. We got to live with those 2, 3, 4 plays a game. You got to buckle up. You take the good with the bad. But some of it really is, basic fundamental stuff like the procedural stuff we saw versus the Lions. We saw it again versus the Rams. Those were cut way down last night. You guys already talked about all the numbers. The offense, they dominate the yardage, time of possessions, first downs, all the good stuff you want to see. Arif already touched on the defense. absolutely dominated them. They have looked so good, specifically at US Bank this year. They have absolutely shined in front of that home crowd as well. But, this was kind of we were talking, I think it was right at the end segment 3 of the postcast. I asked you guys, what'd you guys think of the 5.5 point spread? Because I kind of liked Indy plus 5.5 coming in. I think a lot of people were at that point in the year where you're coming off 2 losses. We saw all those big ebbs and flows last year we kind of got used to. Bad for 5 games, great for 6 games, bad for another 5 games. People kept bringing up the 2016 Vikings as well. It kind of felt like, boy, you lose this one. This is a big shift. And a big swing if you do win this one too. So it just felt like in some ways maybe this was kind of a must-win game, at least a bounce-back type of game. Good teams win these types of matchups. At home, coming off the mini-bye versus a, 39-year-old backup quarterback. And I think we learned again, when they're not shooting themselves in the foot, when they can just get out of their own way, playing clean football, not miss 2 field goals and have 3 turnovers, this is a really, really good team.
It's pretty
Sam, can I
good to
share
see
2 stats. So I want to get this out of the way because
I would like to hear them. Yes, 2 stats.
Yeah.
Are they nerdy? Do I need to play the intro?
I don't think they're that nerdy.
All right, cool.
They're fun. How about that?
Play it.
I wasn't prepared.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Go ahead.
So, first stat. The Colts had as many 40-plus yard drives as the Vikings had 40-plus yard plays. One.
The opening drive, right?
Yeah, the first drive. Yeah, which ended in a fumble. The second stat is that on scoring drives, the Colts totaled 5 yards.
2 yards on the first field goal.
And 3 yards on the final.
Hold on. They had 3 yards gained
Net.
on
That's what it
because
said
of
in
the
my
penalty.
NFL GSIS, yeah.
Because there was a huge pass interference penalty, but that still counts as yardage, does it not?
That's what it says on the NFL GSIS. That's all I got.
I would guess that it does not count as like gained yardage
Yeah, maybe it does. Yeah, it must not.
or like net yardage.
I appreciate those stats, though, and the Colts also didn't run a play in the red zone, and I'm willing to
didn't
give
that
the
one.
Vikings defense a shutout. I think we just give them the shutout because they didn't give up anything in that game. And it's good to see that, okay, couple games defense got exposed against good offenses. It's nice to at least know that, okay, against a flawed offense, they still look dominant. They still look great. And considering who's coming up on the schedule, I think you can feel a little more secure in the possibility of stringing these next 3 together. And then it's always a coin flip in Chicago. But this bodes well for the next handful of games. I wrote down some other more minute points that I learned from this game. Ed Ingram's feet continued to get in the way.
Oh, my God.
Did you see the replay?
Yeah.
We thought Bradbury got punked by Grover Stewart. He stepped on Ingram's foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it until Crosserific retweeted it with like a little, hey, check out what's happening here.
Yeah.
Little tweet. So shout out.
Shout out.
That's who pointed out to me too.
But my God, it just keeps happening, man. Like all the time.
Well,
Braun,
at least
this
he's
is your guy.
consistent. He's consistent. I mean,
Wide stance.
good.
Wide
wide
stance for Mr. Ingram. Ty Chandler, toast? It feels that way.
Sure.
With 0 snaps in 2 games,
the way it was
Cam
last year.
Akers
Yeah.
goes off on 2 series, 46 yards, 7.7 yards per carry. I like having Cam Akers back, by the way. I'm a
hey,
big
I'll tell you what, you swap, 2028 conditional 7th round picks. You're going to give the guy a crack, man. All right.
Yeah, you need to make good on that investment.
I got to get my money's worth out of that investment. But yeah, KOC's always loved Cam Akers. And to be fair, last year before he got hurt, he was flashing out there as well, too. So yeah, I don't know how much of a knock it is on Ty, but definitely this is now Cam Akers' RB2 spot for sure. It feels like to lose.
I feel confident enough to say that Cam Akers is just definitely a better running back than
might
Ty
just be
Chandler,
better.
and it's just that he had just gotten here and we were acclimating.
Dallas Turner is also alive. And we theorized that they just weren't having
about
enough third downs to get him on the field the last couple of games. But, looking back at it, I think they just had him out there more. I think he took some snaps from Patrick Jones, who's come back to earth a little bit.
Yeah, Patrick Jones only played like 18 snaps, so
Maybe.
Have you seen the snap count data? Because I haven't found it yet.
That could be a reaction to the Rams game where Patrick Jones got just walloped.
I also think that having a couple of snaps where Ivan Pace wasn't on the field, putting Andrew Van Ginkel at linebacker, like off-ball linebacker, creates situations that puts Dallas Turner on the field too. Like I think that also like plays a role, is that you've got now an edge rusher role to fill because Andrew Van Ginkel can play every front seven position. So if someone goes down, that's just what you have. So I think that's probably part of it. 4
Dallas
pressures,
Turner,
11 pass rushes. One of those was extremely unblocked. So
Timed very well though with the snap count. It was not.
that was like his thing
fair.
in Alabama too. He was very good at that.
Dallas Turner 48% of the snaps, Ward 43% of the snaps, Patrick Jones 33% of the snaps. So yeah, Pat Jones losing some snaps to not just Dallas Turner but Ward as well.
I mean, that's the
get
move
your-
you make though. Like, okay, we're not getting pass rush, and we're not playing our first round pick. Let's play the first round pick and see what happens. A sensible move. 20. I'm seeing 26 snaps now from someone in the comments. 4 pressures. That's consistent. Hey, if you have it in front of you, Inman, what was Hawkinson? Because I wanted to see the divvied up tight end snap.
Hawkinson played 45%, 33
Yeah.
snaps, which equated to 45%. Oliver played 41 snaps, so 8 more snaps, 56%. Johnny Munt played 19 snaps, 26%.
I think he was the one when they went to 11 personnel, he would come off. He was basically playing tight end 2, and they were just using a lot of 12. Probably because they thought they could run on the Colts, and they were right.
Yeah, Hawkinson only had 6 run blocking snaps, so that kind of matches.
Oh, really? Oh, so because like he would come out and Brandon Powell would come in, and then they would just run out of that. Sure.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, why not?
Did Jordan Addison's touchdown catch get like underrated? I feel like we haven't made enough about how ridiculous that catch was.
That
Well,
was
they didn't show the
insane.
replay for like 90 seconds until they were going to commercial. I was like, did he catch that? I'm going against him in fantasy football. Did he catch that? What's going on? But yeah, maybe it was sick. It was a slick one-handed. There was some, I don't know if you guys watched a lot of football yesterday, the noon slate, red zone, whatever.
There were some catches.
There was some catches.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith.
And that Garrett Wilson one in Thursday night.
Garrett Wilson kind of set the tone, set the stage for the week.
DeMarcus Robinson walk-off.
That Robinson
Yes,
was-
One-hander?
That was great too. Yeah.
Yeah, the Addison catch, I think it's the only time it's certainly the only time I recall seeing a receiver stretch out with both hands and complete a one-handed catch. Like they're just like not in a position to handle a one-handed catch kind of demand when it suddenly appears when you've got both hands outstretched. That's just like a different biomechanics. So the fact that he was able to reel that in when he had both hands outstretched, I don't know, that adds like something to me because I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Well,
So
also
that
too,
was
I'm
cool.
assuming he's a righty. I don't know. I feel like somebody throws a football to me, and I'm like, I might have a chance at catching this one-handed with my strong dominant hand. That was a left-handed grab too. So
Yeah, let's assume he's right-handed for that because that's more impressive. You're right.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Plenty more wrinkles.
Statistically, he's probably a righty.
Yeah, the odds would,
Analytics here.
would suggest. We're going to dive a little more into the Vikings defense as well. Are they back for reals, and did they change anything significant? That's next on the Minnesota Football Party. This episode brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. We're also brought to you today by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to play daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including here in Minnesota. The best place to get real money sports action. Again, over 10 million users. You can sign up today and you can put together your entry very easily. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 stats. Put together your entry. So if you had Justin Jefferson more than 83.5 yards, that would have hit in a big way. He had 137. Lamar Jackson could do more or less than 1.5 touchdown runs for Lamar. You can put together a cross-sport entry too. That's a lot of fun. 2 to 6 stats more or less at Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. And a reminder, we've got a great lineup at Locked On Sports Minnesota, the Ron Johnson Show on Tuesdays, Minnesota Basketball Party on Wednesdays. We do this Mondays and Thursdays live about 11 a.m. Central. And then Fridays, the Roundtable with Care 11 sports anchors. The defense. We talked about Turner. Were there significant changes observed? Let's start with Braun on this one. They took the mini bye to try to fix what was ailing them. Do you think they did anything radical in this game to change things up?
They might have tweaked the kind of ratios of what they were doing. I don't think they did anything they haven't done before, but we pointed out earlier, more of Van Ginkel at off-ball linebacker, maybe instead of Metellus there. Dallas Turner playing edge and feeling better about that, and maybe that works out a little bit better. I have to think that, you got to put some of it on, oops, the Colts can't do anything. They can't function, and they just kind of fell apart in front of you. But I don't think all of it goes. Honestly, I still respect what Joe Flacco can do at 39. He can deliver accurate balls for the most part and take care of the football and get rid of the ball very crucially. And I was actually kind of worried about that, as it, that's exactly how Goff and Stafford dunked on the Vikings defense, was get rid of the ball quickly, put it where it needs to be. And basic concepts can beat what they have in coverage because it's usually undermanned. And so that didn't work. And I'm very curious to see, especially what they did in the middle of the field. I also think Harrison Smith was just feeling the cosmos and just understood everything that was going on. And I think it took a lot of stuff away, more than what we saw on camera, I would guess.
Inman, anything observed on your end with Brian Flores' defense?
Not too much as far as any radical changes. I will say, first things first, they stopped the run, and you don't want to gloss over that too much, because Jonathan Taylor's no joke. I think his first touch was 9 yards right up the gut, right up the middle. You're thinking, oh no, might be a long night. They got Quentin Nelson, one of the best guards in the league. So holding him to, I think it was 48 yards on 13 carries, holding the running backs to less than 50 yards. That's where it kind of felt like it all started. And then the other thing I just kind of noticed throughout the game, compared to last week specifically versus the Rams, the pass rush obviously was getting after Flacco much more consistently. The secondary, though, behind them just felt like a unison again. The pass rush and the coverage behind it playing together again. The secondary specifically, much cleaner game, tighter coverage in the back end. Looked like the communication was a little bit better. They were just playing faster and just overall just more decisive, it felt like. It just felt like overall top to bottom a more disciplined defensive performance, especially, again, compared to what we saw last game versus the Rams and Stafford in that passing attack. So stopping the run like that, that's where winning football starts. But then seeing the pass rush in the secondary kind of synced up again on the same page, working in unison, that was really fun to see as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed that when they went up 11 and went in allegedly more of a prevent mode. That's actually when they got a ton of pressure because Flacco had nowhere to go with the football. And if not for the pass interference call, they would have had a pick as well. Turns out Joe Flacco was not Johnny Unitas reincarnate, as we all projected during the week. That was probably one of the bigger collective whiffs in the Twitter and podcast communities, thinking that Joe Flacco was going to throw for 400. I think we all said that. We all echoed that.
Did we all said that? Yeah.
I've sent someone. I think I sent you a DM that said exactly that.
Incredible. All right.
Arif, maybe you stayed above the fray. You're a sharp guy. What'd you see defensively though?
I mean, again, seeing the numbers would help, or having a little bit more access to the All-22 to run it really quickly myself would be nice. But it seemed as if, and I could be super wrong here, but it seemed as if there were more snaps that were in that kind of cover 1, cover 3 variety that had a post safety in the middle. So it could be that there was a wider variety of coverages than we're used to seeing. The bar is pretty low in terms of increasing the odds or the percentages of having a middle of field closed coverage, because they were at like 70% middle of field open heading into the game, which is not just the highest in the NFL, it's the highest in the NFL by like an enormous margin. So it seemed as if that's what happened. It felt like we had more kind of cover 3 style defenses at the back end. And that kind of confusion seemingly impacted Flacco, who got rid of the ball faster than most quarterbacks do on most days. It was a pretty quick strike offense for them. But when he wasn't getting rid of the ball quickly, he was confused. And a lot of times he was confused against 4-person rushes. The Vikings did their thing. They blitzed at a 40% rate, which is low for them, high for everybody else. And they mixed up kind of who was rushing. They had, I think, it felt like their pass rushers dropped into coverage more often than we're used to seeing. It felt like we saw Dallas Turner in coverage a little bit more, Andrew Van Ginkel in coverage a little bit more, even Grenard in coverage a little bit more than we're used to seeing. I haven't run the numbers against the other weeks, so I can't say that for sure. That's what it felt like to me, and it felt like we were more likely to see someone in a traditionally non-pass rushing position rush the passer, so we'd get to 4 without technically blitzing according to the definitions of some of these charting organizations, which may have contributed to that Flacco confusion. So new ways to be aggressive. Again, haven't checked the numbers. New ways to be aggressive, but still maintaining, I think, kind of the spirit of the defense by picket fencing at the sticks and forcing offensive linemen and quarterbacks to just kind of sort it out and making answers difficult for them to find.
Let's play a game.
How about that 2-play sequence of Dallas Turner dropping back as a linebacker in coverage 12 yards down the field, and then the very next play
That's
as a off-ball linebacker creeping up to the line, disguising that blitz, and then getting the pressure and knocking Flacco to the ground and forcing an incomplete pass. I think that was on 3rd and 6. So, that was just fun to see. To your point, yeah, you're right. Some more edge rushers dropping back in coverage, Dallas Turner being one of them.
Oh, it's super great that happened.
We have a comment from, so just super quick. We have a comment from Iro. I haven't seen Shaq Griffin in a while, and I love it. Shaq Griffin played, like 70% of the coverage snaps and didn't get targeted once. Feels like that is persistently true. I agree. It feels like that's been a common feature of his game. He hasn't been getting targeted over the past 3 games, which is awesome. So
he got Demarcus Robinson against the Rams, but that was kind of the only one.
Everyone's gotten Demarcus Robinson the past 3. Come on.
Shaq Griffin only played 20 snaps, 37%.
18 coverage snaps.
No, I was going to say about Dallas Turner. It is very funny that now that the broadcast has pointed that out, everyone believes it. He's been doing that all year. We've been talking about it all year, that he's in coverage a lot. That's kind of hard to get pressure when you're in coverage. Being part of sim pressures, that's been the role. That's Andrew Van Ginkel's role too. He's doing the same thing. He's still just kind of backup Van Ginkel, and they used Van Ginkel somewhere else, so we had to do the backup Van Ginkel thing and did very well.
Let's see if eye test matches data. PFF data's in within the last half an hour. Who do you think the highest graded offensive lineman was?
I already know.
Okay, you are out.
I was going to guess Brian O'Neill.
I already saw it, so
that's
I'll
fine.
abstain.
Brief.
I said Brian O'Neill.
Garrett Bradbury, and he is
not.
not
seeing Krauser's tweet.
Yeah.
He's not given the strip sack either. That was charged to Brandel. Seems...
was that the one that came on the multiple stunt?
Well, I mean, Stewart just bowled him over when he stepped on Ingram's foot, but I wonder if they gave because that needs to be charged to somebody. And why would it be Brandel? I don't.
Yeah, so the way that
it needs to be charged to somebody is part of the problem. I think sometimes you go, bad things happen to people, and should be
Yeah,
pretty good.
this is actually, I was tweeting about this like 3 weeks ago. It doesn't work like accounting. Sometimes there is no fault and they don't assign it to anybody. In this case, which is fine with me, in this case, I actually am a little bit surprised because PFF's primary accountability mechanism is grades. And so sometimes they will charge a sack to an offensive lineman and then not grade them poorly for it. So that's something to kind of keep in mind is that I think that would have been probably appropriate here. That's interesting because the initial grades off of PFF did assign it to Bradbury. So someone must have pointed out the foot thing to them, which I have mixed thoughts on making that determination. Always tough,
One of the
tough job for them.
things, yeah, one of the things that always gets us, especially with O-line stuff, is that we never ever think at all. If you have 30 good pass pro reps, we will only think about the one where you fell over.
Yeah.
And that one will absolutely be overrepresented in our minds. I actually think that over the course of the game, there are a lot of really long pockets, a lot of, if Sam Darnold did get flushed out, it happened late enough in the down where I bet PFF's mechanisms say, don't fault that to anybody but the quarterback. And it always ends up to not really be as bad as it feels like. But anytime you see Sam Darnold do a play pass where he turns around, fakes a handoff, 7-step drop, you have to remember that takes longer. And so the time between the top of his drop and the time where pressure no longer counts, quote unquote, per PFF or Next Gen or SIS or whoever's doing it is shorter than what we're used to on a shotgun 3-step drop, or 5-step drop, more normal pass pro situation.
Also, Sam Darnold in the past couple of games has had a high sack ratio on pressures, so it feels like he's getting pressured more than he actually is. He's actually not getting pressured that
Yeah, it was
much.
not that many pressured reps entirely, right? Which means you get a whole bunch of pass pro wins that get graded high, and then that's sort of PFF's whole deal is saying, no, we look at all the plays, not just the ones you remember.
Yeah, so something to keep in mind is that the Vikings actually, despite 4 sacks, did not actually get pressured that much, and it is a very long time to throw in this offense.
How many pressures do you think Cam Robinson gave up?
It's tough because how
3?
much did he give up, or how much came from his assignment? Because those are two different. Because Brando was helping him, tight ends were helping him, Trent Sherfield was helping him. Not that I object to any of that. I thought he had a pretty good game, but I'm gonna say I don't know 2.
PFF won't adjust for that kind of stuff, as I know,
but
they might adjust for a chip, but not for being.
They'll
part of
adjust the
slot.
grade. They won't adjust the stat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 is the answer. 4 is the
4.
answer.
Oh, no.
I thought he had a pretty good game,
Cut him.
to be honest.
No, we got to get rid of 4. That's too many. rid of him.
Last one in the PFF game. Who was the highest graded
Riser.
defensive Vikings player?
Grenard.
Gotta be.
No.
Or
Not
Harrison Smith.
Oh, I mean, Harrison Smith's first half was.
If
was
it's not
nice.
either of those and you're saying it like that, it's somebody like Harrison Phillips or Bynum or something.
Harrison Phillips had a great game. Goodness.
Actually, those are the top 2, Phillips and Bynum. Phillips 1, Bynum
sure.
2.
Yeah.
All right.
3 run stops for Phillips.
What was Grenard?
Bynum.
Where was Grenard? Grenard wasn't top 2?
Grenard got dinged for tackling and apparently coverage, where he dropped a couple times. Pass rush was very good.
Classic.
Got it.
Highest
Got
pass
it.
rush grade on the team.
Got it.
Yeah.
Are we done with the PFF _review?
Yes, we are. You looked, Bron. It could have been so fun. We didn't have a key participant in the game.
The person who least likes to talk about it was the one who disqualified himself by looking.
He's got the notifications on his phone. Oh, the PFF grades. When we return, a trade deadline suggestion from each of us next on the Minnesota Football Party. Today's episode brought to you by Hillsdale College. 1 second. Let's go full screen. There we go. Time is our most precious commodity. Don't waste it scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours. How can you spend your time wisely to improve yourself and learn something? Our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free online courses like Introduction to Free Market Economics, Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, which sounds pretty awesome. So all of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced. You can start whenever, tune in whenever. You can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Right now, go to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. Hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. Hillsdale.edu/lockedon. And today we are presented by FanDuel, and there's a new offer for new customers right now at FanDuel that you got to check out. FanDuel, there we go. Make every moment more at FanDuel. Again, bet $5 right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. So when you get a hunch, maybe it's on the Vikings -4.5 in Jacksonville, or maybe it's during the game you want to hit that live line, capitalize at FanDuel with a $5 wager, and if it wins, get $150 in bonus bets. Join today, FanDuel.com. Bet 5, get 150. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, trade deadline tomorrow. Vikings have already swung for a left tackle, but will they swing again? I've asked everyone in the panel to come up with one trade the Vikings could make tomorrow. And again, they've still got $8 million in cap space. They only spent like $2 million in change on Cam Robinson, so they got a little bit to spare in cash. Not so sure about draft capital, but that's never stopped us before. Luke Inman, would you like to lead us off in our trade deadline spectacular?
I was just going to say, how about a trade where they could be on the giving end? How about Pat Jones?
I'm not ruling that out.
How about Pat Jones? Stock is, relatively as high as it's going to get for Pat Jones. He only played 18 snaps, as we talked about. Dallas Turner, obviously, the future. They're starting to use Jihad War even more as well. They got no draft picks next year. Feels like an easy way to recoup at least something for him before he hits free agency, 26 years old. Something more than you'd get in compensatory compensation, I guess, would have to be kind of the bar or the asking price. But I could see that happening for sure.
The Andrew Booth trade, was that just straight up for Nahshon Wright, or was there a pick?
I think
No,
it was
just
player
straight
for
up.
player. Yeah.
Cuttable player for cuttable player. It's just that Dallas didn't cut theirs.
I feel like Brian Asamoah would be like kind of an Andrew Booth style deal. But again, mid-season, like who's saying, yeah, we need a backup linebacker who hasn't had meaningful snaps in 2 years. Like, yeah, it's just hard to swing that. Patrick Jones, however, has had meaningful snaps this year and actually did something with them. So I don't know what the return is on a Patrick Jones. Feels like about a 7th, which, hey, Vikings are starved. We'll take it. We'll take a 7th. Arif Hassan, let's go crazy.
Arif, you are muted.
Great. Last night.
Hold on. I promised Macho that I would do this for every suggestion. So just wait. That's for Patrick Jones being traded. Okay.
Cool. No idea why you'd promise him that. Anyway, I was looking for trades last night on kickers, and it turns out all of them are hurt, and then the teams that have picked up kickers in response to the ones that are hurt, those kickers also got hurt. That's not a joke. That's happened to at least 3 teams where the kicker that they picked up to replace the kicker that got hurt. So that's not happening. Not because Will Reichert is bad, but because I have no idea what the extent of his injury is. Having an MRI today, I guess? I don't know. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. So I decided I was done expending energy and just went over the last trade suggestion that I had, which was Brandon Sheriff, who is not having a great year and is maybe a bad pickup. He could be cooked, but he does have chemistry with Cam Robinson, and the Jaguars are very clearly
Right guard, left tackle chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And he does. He plays for a team that is clearly just having a fire sale. Like the Cam Robinson price was crazy.
Yeah.
So
that's where you got to start. You got to look at the teams that are going to have a fire sale. Saints, maybe the Browns,
fire the coach.
Jags, Panthers, maybe, I don't know. But that's where you got to start for sure.
For sure. So Go for the old cooked guard who was really good a couple of years ago, who played on the same offensive
in his
line.
prime. He was
He
phenomenal.
was outstanding. Who's played on the same offensive line as the guy you just traded for, which definitely doesn't matter, but feels like it should. Brandon Scherf. Yeah, and the sound.
That's for Brandon Scherf.
And hashtag.
I brought this up tongue in cheek last night, and Braun just pounced on me. He just went.
Good.
Yeah.
Whatever you said, you deserved it.
Yeah, Scherf is very like after watching Jacksonville's offense for Cam Robinson, I'm like, wow, this right guard sucks. Who's this? Oh,
Yeah, he might be a little washed, but I think I believe in the Vikings.
I think he got hurt
I
yesterday
got
too.
Reisner.
I don't know.
I
how
don't
badly,
think he
but
would play over Ingram or Reisner.
He got hurt
if it was just
yesterday
up
as
to
well.
like pure competition.
And I think
That's
Ezra's hurt. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
And now they just traded
is.
Cam Robinson. That offensive line next week. Obviously, we'll do a deep dive on Thursday, but is in shambles. right now.
Take the Vikings
way.
line now because I don't know who the Jaguars are
Might
going to
move.
have left after tomorrow. Luke Braun, what's your trade?
Speaking of teams that might be fire sailing, the Browns, maybe they do it now, maybe they do it in the offseason.
Dalvin.
That would be awesome. But I was going to say Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome, decent starting cornerback if you want a little extra corner help. I don't think he would be very expensive. The only real wrinkle is that he's got a $13 million fully guaranteed year of his deal next year that you have to figure out what you want to do with. If you're comfortable with it, or if you want to try to restructure it, or if that's a deal breaker or whatever. But if it's not, you could probably get him and give Cleveland back that 5th rounder that they gave us for Zadarius Smith. Maybe even get a 7th back or something like that, like a day 3 pick swap. I feel like he would be that kind of like the Browns are in that kind of spot where starting corners that aren't Denzel Ward actually go for that, and I don't know if they even want to keep him. And they're going to need to clear cap so bad next year that they might have to.
Yeah.
That's true. I think the funniest good one. I think the funniest trade would be for Devontae Adams. I think that would rule.
It's just right off just twice in the same year.
Just like looks like that's not working out for you. All right.
Yeah.
Let's grab that one.
Give him a good revenge game against Green Bay.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, there you go.
We got one more from me. The Vikings are going to wheel and deal with the Dolphins, who are 2-6, for Calais Campbell, who is on like a minimum deal. He's 38, but he's the 4th ranked interior lineman on PFF, having a great year. You bring him in for half a season. You give him a chance to maybe win a Super Bowl. You get like 4 or 5 sacks out of him. He can kind of line up in whatever spot on that defensive line. He's coming from a 3-4. Calais, bring him in. Locker room guy, veteran.
Locker room guy, media guy, community
I feel
guy.
like there's a reason that he's played the majority of his career in Florida. I feel like he doesn't like he played in Baltimore for a little bit.
Played in
I feel
Baltimore
like,
for a quick stint.
Big gun enthusiast, or
no, big I like warm winters enthusiast. Which I think will present a challenge for
It's
the
the tropical
Vikings.
vibe. I think the
don't.
challenge is Miami's still in denial, and I don't think they're in fire sale mode yet. Where teams like the Saints,
Probably.
maybe Cleveland again, Jacksonville, like we talked about. I don't know if Miami's there quite yet, but I could be wrong. 2-6, you're right. Who knows?
They are 2 back in the loss column of the 7 seed, which that still might be tight enough to convince themselves that they can make a run, but it's getting late early for them. I mean, they've got maybe one more loss of wiggle room before that thing is out of reach. So yeah, they're kind of broken right now. If I'm power ranking the moves that were suggested here, I like Bronze. That's very Quasian. That feels legit. And also there's the Browns connection with Quasi. He's familiar with them. They would talk. I'm power
it's
ranking.
bad, man.
I'm power ranking mine second because I think that's someone who actually helps you this year who might be available. Luke's third because you might get something in return. Arif, I'm putting yours fourth, man. I don't know.
I told you I gave up before I gave the
Yeah.
He admitted
Didn't exactly
the guy's
sell that, huh?
cooked.
Yeah.
He admitted the guy's
Yeah, he's
washed.
washed. He's old. But
Then he
I
just kept saying,
liked him
"But."
when he was drafted, so he's a good player.
When he was drafted a decade
2014.
ago.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper class.
Yeah, he's one of my draft favorites, so
2014.
he's a good player.
Oh,
When
my
draft
gosh.
Twitter was pure.
Yeah.
What's,
The young and
what's-
wide-eyed.
How many
Derek
alarm
Carr.
bells are we ringing about Will Reichert? MRI, quad. I've had quad stuff back when I was a baseball guy in high school. It's not fun. And for a motion like that, I'm actually impressed that he was as effective as he was if he couldn't put pressure on it. So I don't know if that means he's close, just needs to like get on the massage table. But what do you guys make of it? Concern
I
level.
wish we would have seen
I
like
was
a fourth
worried that
down
they were making
situation.
it worse. Like, if it's bad, pull him. You don't want to make this injury any worse than it is.
Yeah, the fact that they had him on the field for like extra points suggests it probably isn't that bad, but
Yeah.
I
But
don't
they had
know,
a
I'm gonna
heating
wait.
pad on it, so it's probably a muscle thing.
Yeah.
Let's decide our panic levels after we see the results
Yes.
of the MRI, and not just the fact that he's getting one.
yeah, I feel we've seen players play through injuries that they later go on IR for, so that is not a 100% great heuristic. Yeah, let's wait until the MRI.
Well, I'm not waiting. I'm already looking up free agent kickers on Spotrac.
It's bad. It's like Randy
There's
Bullock.
two. What? But one of them is Riley Patterson, who we know.
Yeah,
Oh,
like I
let's
said,
go.
like I said, it's
Right or
Randy
wrong?
Bullock. Right
Greg-
or wrong?
Greg Joseph's not out there, huh?
No, he's on IR. Like I said, all these kickers
Yeah.
are hurt.
Tough year for kickers. And
So
they're
Patterson,
all hurt.
also an
The Giants have
ex-Jaguar.
had 4 kickers take field goals this year. One of them is a punt.
and they
admittedly.
can't convert 2-point conversions.
Yeah,
Oh.
well, the Giants have a number of problems, and the kicking
We'll get
specialist
there.
is not.
with Sam.
Yeah.
I'm sure if there is a serious injury to Will Reichert, they've got some random like undrafted rookie that that Matt Daniels had a draft grade on, that if they were unable to draft Will Reichert, they would have brought in, and they'll like call that guy.
You don't want John Parker Romo?
Sure, man.
They're familiar with him. He's got chemistry for long snapper.
He's got chemistry with the left. That actually probably matters.
Yeah, it's better than the Brandon Sheriff chemistry.
Left tackle, right guard chemistry. Let's go.
Inspired by the comments, which no longer in the league Vikings kicker would you want back the most? Someone
Right now, like at
like
this stage in
someone
his career.
someone who might be close enough to like their playing days that they could still actually kick. So not Gary Anderson.
Who would you want back?
Yeah.
So,
Got it.
so
Dan
the
Bailey,
chat suggested Kai Forbath.
Forbath.
I'm looking up Kai Forbath's age.
Yeah, I'm
37?
right now.
Do it.
I'm team Kai Forbath.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kai Forbath at 37.
Yeah, there you go.
Grizzled.
What's Matt Prater? 39? It's fine.
American Forbath. Yeah, bring him in.
This is how the gambling went down this week. Not good for me. We've got a shakeup in the standings. Luke Inman.
Jesus, man.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Springs all the way up.
See, Inman, this is his new strategy. He skips the Thursday show, and then he comes in with all the information on Sunday morning and
You
with
actually
his
try it.
picks. He's
Try
got so he's got all the data. He's gotten to watch the sharps. He gets the best lines. And then makes
Yep,
the pick
definitely
Sunday
not
morning.
texting you guys at 11:47 every Sunday and like, oh, I better get a
So
pick in, I
crap.
guess. Who did anybody
Yeah,
take
and you
the
clearly didn't even watch the
Rams?
show because he's like, hey, did anyone take this one? No? Yes?
Hello?
Okay, I'll take this one.
11:55 now. Come on. Hello?
Here's the irony. If he had been on the show, he would have gotten Hawkinson anytime touchdown and not me. I wouldn't have been
wanted it.
stuck with it.
I wanted it.
He wanted it. So he got Addison
Josh Oliver
anytime
touchdown
TD.
too. Like
Incredible.
Yeah.
What were the odds of the Josh Oliver touchdown, do you think?
550,
750.
750.
Yeah, I was going to say
something like
600.
that.
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yeah.
But Johnny Munt one week, the week I did was like 550, I think.
Anyway, I'm dead last.
Really nice to go 2-0 as the Lukes did. So Inman we're all profitable, by the way. Like if you'd been tailing
Yeah,
us
I don't
all
care.
year,
Let's go.
you would be $400 in profit. Inman's leading. Braun in second, despite a 7-11 record. Braun in second.
Oh, because I
Braun
hit plus
hit
108.
a long shot, so.
Yeah, because apparently Jefferson over 6.5 receptions was plus 108 for some reason.
Came down to the last reception. And the Giants could make a 2-point conversion, which cost me plus 3.5. And TJ Hawkinson did get targeted in the end zone, but it was going to be intercepted by one of two people. It was caught.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah.
That counts.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Arif Addison's over narrowly hit 42.
Barely, yeah.
42, and you needed 39.5, and you lost Texans plus 2.5. So you lost money this week. I lost a lot of money this week, but I'm still ahead of you by $32.
Yeah, we got to figure out this loser punishment so I know exactly when to quit the show.
And we got one more.
When to start trying, finally. I mean, you guys, second, third, and fourth are all within literally one bet. I mean, this is going to go back and forth for the next 8 weeks.
Yeah, with the minimums going up and up and up, like what happens in the next 6 weeks is going to be more decisive than what's already happened.
Yeah, the first 4 weeks didn't matter. It's always fun that we do this.
Yeah, that's how I'm profitable. At 7-11.
Did you? Is this a made up piece of news or what's going on?
Vikings signed Kai Forbath.
This is
Oh
boy.
Okay. There's going to be accusations of fraud with this vote. And I'm speaking, of course, of the Halloween candy draft vote. Now, if you look at it on mobile doesn't use decimal points for whatever reason. So it actually has the percentage lead going to team 2, but the win goes to team 3 because this is very confusing. I wish I could show you what I'm looking at, but if you go on desktop, it gives decimal points.
Do we need poll watchers, Sam? Do we need to?
We need a
Stop the steal.
Let's stop
third
the
party to intervene. Team 3, 42.9% of the candy draft vote. Team 2, 42.6%.
We're gonna have to.
I'm calling the Georgia State Election Board. They can't certify this.
So this will go through a panel of arbitration, legal hearings. But
no, it won't. I'm storming the Candy Kingdom.
What we do know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, Team 1 got obliterated. I mean, Team 1. Now, who would like
the Jill
I
Stein
don't know
of
if we
this?
could trust any of these results. Actually, I feel like this casts a pallor over the whole affair.
Team 1 was Arif Hassan, folks. Team 1, Arif Hassan.
Maybe. Who's to say who Team 1 is?
Who knows?
I'm trying to pull data from Twitter right now to see just how many accounts are tied to Sam's IP address. Has he been stuffing the ballots?
I mean, it could be the case. I actually saw him burning some ballot boxes, which was pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with this. It was just a really weird thing.
Yeah,
for
it's
him
just
to
what
be
he
doing.
does.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's a federal crime, Sam.
Team one had one of the steal of the drafts too. Gushers at 19. Gushers 19. Wow.
Arif,
I think
do you regret
that hurt you because it's
your-
not very Halloweeny.
Yeah.
It's a good snack, but it's like an elementary school. Like,
Nerds
afternoon
rope
snack.
at 20. The next pick is also a SOD right there too. Steal of the draft. Wow.
Sam, if
I
you're
did go off
asking
the
if I
board there.
regret any of my decisions, the answer is I regret all of them. So
You went
but-
hard candy with 6 and 7. I feel like you were trying to get people
There
just
was
aren't
only, like, one
passionate
good hard
about
candy,
those
though.
at all. That's the problem.
yeah, no, I actually I don't regret that decision because I thought the hard candy pickings were actually pretty bad.
We both went off the board, I think, Sam, for hard candy.
Yeah,
because the rest of them were bad.
They were bad. Yeah, my mistake was assuming that the best candy was the best first pick. Right? Like Reese's Cups are the best, but the drop off between that and Fast Breaks or Take Fives, which wasn't even selected, or Reese's Pieces is pretty small. And so I think that was the issue, is that my biggest advantage I squandered.
Yeah, I think having a Reese's on each lineup kind of leveled that playing field.
Yeah, it killed me.
It did.
It killed me.
It did.
And it's your fault, Sam.
I think you lost on Tootsie Roll. I think that was
People don't like Tootsie Rolls?
That's 18 though. I mean, you're getting late in the draft at that point. That's
yeah.
I think people like Tootsie Rolls.
I'm dubious.
I think Gushers got you. It's just not Halloween.
Yeah, he's right. It's not a Halloween
Like
candy,
I get what you're saying, Luke. Like it is not.
I would love
a
that in my
Halloween
my
candy,
Halloween bag, though.
It's
but
how
it
the public
rules-
behaves. It's
Yeah,
Got to know your demographic.
I get it. Yeah.
a lot of mistakes in this draft. I'll be kicking myself for a while.
Yeah.
But
Is it-
we don't know that I lost, so there's also that.
You learn from it, you grow from it, and then the next year you don't trade down when Jordan Addison's on the board, you know?
Thursday, Ron Johnson will join. We'll preview the Jaguars. We will review the trade deadline. And we'll ask the question we didn't get to today. Where do the Vikings sit in the NFC, power rankings-wise? You can give you 72 hours to think about that before our next Minnesota football party. Ron Johnson show tomorrow, Minnesota basketball party Wednesday, part of our great lineup. Please subscribe and check out Locked On Vikings. That's where our audio goes, the Locked On Vikings audio feed. Big thanks to all who watched, listened, and commented. Talk to you next time.